Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, wonderful people out there. Welcome to GFT Radio Show at blogtalkradio.com. We have a great show lined up for you tonight. We're going to be talking about suicide prevention. I have my co-host on the line, Sonny. You want to say what's up?
Hey, guys.
I have also my brother Jay Rowe. What's going on, bro?
What up, everybody?
Yeah, so we're going to get right into it. Suicide is a big thing. It stays real hush-hush in certain communities. People don't want to talk about it. A lot of it stems from depression. Suicide, according to the last statistics taken by the CDC, suicide was the 10th leading causes of death for all ages. And then also, like, men are more likely to die by suicide than women, but women are more likely to attempt suicide. According to the CDC website, they say men are more likely to use deadlier methods such as firearms or suffocation. Women are more likely than men to attempt suicide by poisoning themselves. Children and young people are at risk for suicide as well. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for young people ages 15 to 34. Older adults are at risk for suicide too. While older adults were the demographic group with the highest suicide rates for decades, suicide rates for middle-aged adults has increased to comparable levels from ages 24 to 62. Among those ages 65 plus, white males comprise over 80% of all late-life suicides. So suicide it crosses over all nationalities and ethnic groups. Among ethnicities, American Indians and Alaskan Natives tend to have the highest rate of suicides, followed by non-Hispanic whites, Hispanics, African Americans, and Asian Pacific Islanders each have suicide rates that are about half their white and American Indian and Alaskan Native counterparts. So the statistics, you can see why it's the 10th leading cause of death among all ages. There are many risk factors involved as well. Sonny, do you have some that you want to talk about?
Yes, but before I even go there, I want to talk about New Jersey's 2000 at the current statistics. New Jersey is ranked as the state 48 as the top 50 of people who commit suicide. Numbers of deaths by suicide are 786 people. That's a ratio of 8.3% people who commit suicide. That's how big. That's why we chose to talk about this. It's so serious. And on average in New Jersey alone, there's one person who commits suicide every 11 hours in this state alone. So suicide is the 12th leading cause of death overall in New Jersey. So it's more people die by suicide in New Jersey than die by actual homicide. So that's how serious this topic is for us to talk about, not only just for New Jersey, just for as a whole. But what was your question again? I'm sorry. I kind of lost track because I really had to get that out.
Oh, no problem. Some of the risk factors that involve that causes people to want to commit suicide. Okay,
so as we know, depression is a common condition associated with people who commit suicide. Depression is the depression, anxiety, and substance abuse are the real high risk factors for people committing suicide. That's one of the ones. So a lot of people don't get diagnosed with depression or any type of mental illness, and that's the problem. People think that they're okay. Someone's just sad a little bit, but you never really know. And when you feel that depression, you need to go talk to someone or see someone to talk about your depression, because there's ways that they can help you to, maintain that and not have you at a higher rate to commit suicide. Most of the people that commit suicide do not only suffer from depression, but they also suffer from mental illnesses. So just be mindful of that. And also want to talk about the warning signs of suicide. You know, people talking about wanting to die or kill themselves, looking for ways to kill themselves, or searching online and things of that nature, talking about feeling hopeless and having no reason to live, talking about feeling trapped in or in unbearable pain. People talking about being a burden to others. They always feel like they're a negative energy in someone else's life. They feel like they're just a burden, so they want to kill themselves. They start increasing the use of alcohol or drug abuse. They start acting anxious and agitated, and, you know, that leads to them behaving recklessly, sleeping too little or sleeping too much, withdrawal and isolating themselves. That's a big thing. Also, if they start, I know this one is not listed, but when they start giving away their possessions, and, you know, not like little stuff, like stuff that really you knew mattered to them, and they start letting go of all that thing, that's a sign that something is wrong, that somebody needs to address this person or talk to them, because when they start giving away their things or saying goodbye and you not understanding why, you need to reach out to that person. I also want to give out the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It is 1-800-273-TALK. Again, it's 1-800-273-8255. Jabril, you want to add anything?
Yeah, my whole topic comes from our military training when it comes to suicide. Suicide is a big issue in the Army when it comes to soldiers who are deployed overseas, and when they come home, especially the ones that are overseas in action when they're over in Afghanistan, Iraq, things like that. It becomes stressful, and a lot of soldiers can't deal with it, and they turn to suicide. Or even after they come home, it's just a whole different environment, a whole change of pace, and suicide is one of the things that they look at first. We have a whole lot of training, like almost every month we go to training for suicide prevention. There's a program out there. It deals with sexual assault and things like that, but also has to do with suicide. It's called the I Am Strong. I Am is basically an acronym and stands for intervene, act, and motivate. You want to recognize a threat to a fellow soldier if you see one. That's what the intervene part is. The act is you act as a brother or sister to a fellow soldier. It's your duty to stand up for your battle buddies, take action, do what's right. And motivate is to engage and keep your fellow soldiers safe. So anytime you see anything, any change in behavior, any change in the work routine, anything like that, it could be a sign of or any thoughts, or if the people are talking about hurting themselves or hurting others, you're supposed to take those seriously. A lot of people see signs of people who have issues, and they don't really take them seriously. And one of the main things is, you want to look out for each other. So if you see anybody with any of these signs or symptoms, you need to take some type of action. You can't just sit to the side and then wait until the last minute when something bad happens, and then you think like, I could have did something. You're supposed to be there before the bad action happens. So when it comes down to suicide, I mean, that's one of the big things besides the sexual assault. Suicide is one of the big issues in the Army, any military, whether it's Army, Navy, Marines, whatever it is. But, it's a serious issue, and everybody needs to wake up and pay attention to the signs. It could be any one of us. It could be you, your mom, your dad, brother, sister, whoever. But, you have to be out here and be able to help each other through certain times and situations. We have people that come home from being deployed overseas, and they've seen some real crazy things, and they don't know how to deal and cope with it. And the only way that they think is to get away from it is suicide, and that's not a good look for anybody. I mean, it brings morale down. It definitely brings your hopes and spirits down if you lose somebody that you're close with. You've been deployed overseas with somebody for a year or whatever, and next thing you know, you find out that they're in a bad place, at a low spot, and something as simple as that happens. You need to step in and intervene and nip it in the bud before it gets too serious.
Yes, that's big right there. And that's a great program to have. I didn't know they had that. And you said, what's it called again? I Am?
It's I Am. It mostly deals with the sexual assault and things like that, but it also deals with the suicide. Everything in the Army is all about helping each other out, helping your fellow soldier. It's not just all about sexual assault and everything, but they preach big on that. Like I say, it's called I Am Strong. It's intervene, act, and motivate. And whenever you see anything with anybody, you're supposed to, that basically these people are your brother and your sister. I mean, you've been through training with them, you've been deployed with them, you work with them. If you're in active Army, you work with them every day. If you're in National Guard or Reserves, you might only see them once a month, but these people are basically your brothers and sisters. You've been through basic training, a couple of months with them. You went to AIT, advanced training with them. You get deployed with them. You work with them. You scout for these people like they're your family. But basically, that's what they are. These people have your back. If you're deployed overseas in a war zone, the person to your left or your right might be the one to save your life, whether you're on the battlefield or whether it's something in your own personal experience. So, you want to look after each other 24/7, whether you're in a uniform or not. So that's a big thing. I was looking at some stats. They said back in 2014, 2015, soldiers had the highest rate. The Army had the highest rate of suicide. Even though National Guard and Reserve soldiers, suicide rates dropped down, the active Army is still part of an issue, a bigger issue, and we're just working to get those numbers down. Like I said, there's just plenty of counselors. There's all kinds of support groups out there. So if you know anybody who's having a bad time or thinking about doing something to themselves, step up before it becomes too late and try to get them the help that they need.
Yes, of course, that's big right there.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on, go back real quick to something when Sonny was talking about some of the like the conditions, the mental health conditions. She mentioned depression and other mental health disorders like schizophrenia or somebody have like psychotic disorders. But also one that touched home with me is, serious or chronic health condition or pain. Because, some people, I know we all heard of like mercy killings. Some people, they get so sick and in so much pain that they just want to die.
Yeah.
And sometimes they try to get people to assist them in their suicide.
Yeah.
Assist them in them killing themselves. So that's a big part too, because from dealing with an illness myself, I know at times it can cause you to feel, it can mess with your head, and it can cause you to feel depressed. When you can't do the things you're used to doing. So that's something that people got to pay attention to. If you got sick family members out there or somebody that's dealing with a condition that is to them is like a burden on them, you got to watch them carefully because you don't know where their mind is at or where their mind can lead them to, because when somebody getting their thoughts,
Yeah, that's a bad place to be sometimes.
Yeah, you get lost in your thoughts and you can make things worse mentally than what they really are in reality.
Yeah.
And things could just go left real quick, and then also events like people have triggers, relationship ended, a divorce.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. I know I got to the part when I was talking about mental illness, but there's so many other people that don't have mental illnesses that just, like you said, lose a relationship, lose a job. There's many things that can cause someone to think that suicide is something that they should do.
Yeah, and like we all see these kids, that are being bullied in school.
Mhm.
Next thing you know, they're committing suicide. It done got to the point where people young kids committed suicide from being attacked or feel like they were being bullied online.
Yeah.
And it triggers something. So there's plenty of triggers. Also be aware of family history.
Yeah.
So if your family or have a history of suicide attempts, you may want to talk to somebody because you never know, that might be inside of you. And something like we just mentioned, a death in the family, a divorce or something could trigger it in you, like it could already be there. So now I just go ahead.
Oh, no, I actually, when you talked about kids with bullying, I'm looking at the statistics for New Jersey. We're ranked 6th. New Jersey suicide is ranked the 6th leading cause of death in kids ages 10 to 14.
Wow.
So that has to marinate. And then we're ranked 3rd in leading causes of death for ages 15 to 24. So that's how serious it is. And like the crazy part about it is when you're that low, it's hard to see anybody helping you. It's very hard to see that. And they think asking for help shows is a sign of weakness, and it's like if you make a phone call, it's so easy to get help. They have so many in New Jersey alone. They have so many programs that you can sign up for that, or mental facilities where we could check you in to make sure that you're okay. There's ways to get treatment to help you from those types of thoughts.
Yeah, and a lot of people who have suicidal thoughts or suicidal period, sometimes they're good at hiding it.
Yeah.
I know I was reading somewhere that one thing you should notice is, like, if you notice somebody that's normally down or sad or something, and they're out of the blue,
yeah,
they're just happy and calm, and like their demeanor changed, like, all right, they're not sad anymore. You may think, okay, everything's good with them, but that may be a sign that they have already came to grips with what they're about to do.
Yeah.
And became at peace with it. So it's like it's real tricky. It's real tricky to notice the signs sometimes.
Yeah. It's like a sudden change of behavior. You got to be mindful of that. And I want to give out the number to the show so you guys can call in and join in on this conversation. Our number is 657-383-1155. Go ahead, Clint. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, definitely. If y'all out there, y'all listening, if y'all have any personal experience out there with it, call in and let us know and give us some info. Let us know what's going on with you, or what's going on with somebody that's close to you that you know. Sonny, do you have any personal experience?
Well, not necessarily personal. It's like kind of third party. It was crazy because my best friend at the time, she was working with this guy, and she wanted me to meet this guy. She thought he was the most cool guy that she could ever meet. For some reason, she just wanted us to meet. I don't know if it was for us to date or whatever. And he was going to Steiner back then, but he wasn't going to Steiner. We were older. But at any rate, she kept asking me to meet this guy. And one day I finally was off, and I was like, okay, we can meet. We set up a day that we were always going to meet at her house and hang out. And I went to her house, and it was crazy because we sat there waiting for this guy to show up, and she was getting so upset that he was not there. Like, just getting upset, like, why would he stand us up? He wanted to meet you, blah, 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 and the third. So, long story short, she ended up calling his house. He didn't answer. Well, her phone rung. His mom called her back to try to figure out who it was. And then, because she didn't recognize the number, when she realized who it was, she basically asked my best friend was she sitting down. She was like, no, not really. And then the lady told her to sit down, and she basically said that, the guy, I can't remember his name, he committed suicide. I don't know if you guys remember back then, but it was a while back. I think my daughter was kind of young. She was maybe 3, maybe a little younger than that. But it was a guy, he hung himself from the Steiner football post. And his mom was trying to figure out why. And, the way my best friend was describing him, he was an upbeat guy. I mean, he was troubled, but, she felt like she was getting through to him. And, they developed this friendship, and they used to hang out all the time. And his mom was like, for life, she couldn't understand why he killed himself. He left a note and was just like, I just felt like nothing in my life was going right. I felt like nobody could help me. And, it was crazy because he had family that was there for him. He had friends that were there for him, and he just felt like it wasn't anything they could do. The way he felt was the way he felt, and he felt that was his way to go. And it's just sad because, how do you help somebody that feel like they can't be helped?
Yeah. Did he have any? He didn't have any children or anything, did he?
No.
Okay. All right. he probably felt it's hard when you don't.
Well, no, because you know that guy Breon, that I knew him on Stuyvesant. I didn't know him personally, but I saw this guy every day. He killed himself on his son's birthday. I believe I don't know if it was his son's birthday or the day before, and everybody was shocked by that. But they said that he was troubled. He, was going through trying to get off the streets and lead a positive life, and he just felt like however he felt, and it's like. And at that point, as a family member or as a loved one or a friend, how do you help somebody that doesn't feel like they, it's hard on the family after someone leaves, that way.
Exactly. Jabril, do you have any personal experience or somebody close to you?
All right, two things. One, I don't have a personal experience. It wasn't somebody who was close to me, but I remember when we first got overseas, and mind you, we weren't in like a war zone. Where we were at overseas, it was pretty quiet. It was pretty cool over there. It wasn't stressful. We didn't have to walk around strapped all the time unless we went off base. But while we were there was somebody who actually no, before we got there, it was somebody who had passed away from a suicide. And it was kind of crazy, even though we didn't know them personally, it still kind of hits home because of the, like I say, it's kind of like a big brotherhood, so it kind of hits close to home while we were there. So no, it wasn't somebody personally I know, but that's that. My second point that I want to say, actually I got two more points I want to say, but the second one is more importantly, it's kind of off. We're sitting here discussing suicide awareness, suicide prevention. I put a post up. I'm pretty sure we all put posts up on all of our social networks, and we get a lot of interaction from them. I mean, there's likes, there's a couple of comments here and there, but I know that people are seeing these posts that we're putting up, and like I say, I mean, it's very important to me, to all of us, that we get some type of interaction, some type of feedback, because you never know. Like I say, it could be any one of us. It could be somebody listening right now who's thinking about it, who just needs somebody to talk to or something like that. Like, I appreciate the love and everything we're getting on our social networks, on the GFT radio show page, on our own personal Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, but we need to hear from the people. Like, I appreciate the likes and everything and the sharing the posts, but, we're doing this for the people. We kind of want to hear from the people, listeners, fans. We need the interaction. It's more to it than just, they put a post up, I'm going to read it, I'm going to like it. Even if you didn't read it, I know I got a lot of people that just like stuff that I just post just because of who I am or what I do. They'll just like it. But, there's people out there who might just need to talk about it. So, you I need more than a like. I need some type of interaction, especially with a subject this serious. Like, it's nothing that you can just, I'm just going to like this and that's going to be the end of it. Like, nah, things happen. We need to be out here. We need to share. We need to talk. We need to interact. So, if you're out there listening, you can call in or whatever you need to do. But, we need to talk about this. This is something that's happening every day. Yes. Whether you know it or not. It could be somebody somebody that you know who knows somebody who's going through something, but that's definitely something that I wanted to bring up. My third point that I want to make real quick, there is another program out there that the Army has. It's called the ACE. We have ACE cards. Basically, everybody in the military carries these things. They're called ACE cards. You're supposed to have them. It's basically like part of your uniform. And Army likes acronyms. So ACE is another program that deals specifically with the suicide prevention and suicide awareness. The other one, IM, is, like I say, is kind of the sexual assault and sexual harassment, but the ACE one is the one that deals specifically with suicide prevention. So ACE stands for, A is ask your buddy. When it comes down to that, you have to have the courage to ask the person, are you thinking about killing yourself? You don't want to be direct. Like, some people don't want to be direct, but sometimes you have to be direct with it. You have to be calm about it, but you have to be direct about it, because sometimes that's the only way you're going to get a straight answer. So A stands for ask your buddy. C means care for your buddy, calmly control the situation. Don't use force, but you want to kind of be safe with things that you're doing. You have to listen to the person to understand and produce some type of relief. So you need to be a shoulder to talk, ear to talk to, a shoulder to lean on. So you got to care for the person, calm the situation down, actively listen and show understanding and produce relief, and remove any means that could be used for self-injury. Clint was talking about there's different ways that people do it. I mean, it could be medicine, it could be hanging, it could be shooting yourself, it could be a number of things, but you need to remove those means. And E stands for escort your buddy, which basically means, never leave that person alone. If they come up to you and they tell you that, hey, I'm thinking about killing myself, your job begins right there. Basically, you're not supposed to leave this person alone at any time. You basically escort this person everywhere. The first place you should be going is to see your chain of command, which is basically, your sergeants all the way up to your first sergeant, sergeant major, whoever is in charge of that unit. If you can't get a hold of them, you have chaplains, which are basically like they have minister, they have priest, they have whatever religion you are, you have a chaplain for each religion that you have out there. You can't get a hold of them, there's behavioral health professionals or your primary care provider. But basically your job, once you're there, is to escort this person through those means to whoever you have to get to in order to get this person help. And last but not least, you can always call them the National Suicide Prevention Line. So basically that's what the ACE program is. Ask your buddy, care for your buddy, escort your buddy. And like I say, the Army takes these things serious. And that's one of the programs that, like I said, I don't want to say we get drilled on, but that's something that we have meetings and slideshows and all kinds of things. Basically every month. Every month we have a whole big discussion about this.
Yeah, that's good. That's excellent.
Yeah, that's a great program. That.
Yeah, a lot of these jobs out here. You have jobs out here and not a lot of people, like, I can tell you, I worked at my job for 11 years. I worked at Comcast for 11 years, and not once have we had a suicide stand down. We've had a suicide stand down, let's say, maybe like every 3 to 4 months in the Army. Basically, they get all the soldiers together. They had the last one, I want to say, was August or September. We had a soldier who was overseas. He was contemplating suicide. He came and talked to us. He wrote a couple of books about it. He came and talked to us for a while. We had a whole big discussion, panel discussion. They had a whole big ceremony and everything about that. But, these regular jobs, these regular 9-to-5s, these businesses, these people aren't out here talking to you about these kind of issues. And these are issues that need to be brought up because, you're at work, you're stressed out, you're not making enough money, you got bills to pay, you got families to take care of, kids and everything. And these companies and corporations aren't out here holding these seminars and things like that. But I'm pretty sure that if it came down to it, a lot of people at work would be a whole lot better if they had these means of communicating with somebody or talking to them about it. Like I say, everybody waits until it's too late, and then they think like, oh, what could we have done differently? But if they were able to have some type of group meetings or something like that, once a month or whatever, a lot of things would be different.
Yeah, definitely. Well, me personally, I could come at it from a couple different perspectives. I come at it from my own personal perspective first. I've never attempted suicide or anything like that, but I remember hitting rock bottom before, and a thought crossed my mind of whether that maybe it'd be better off if I wasn't here. But at the same time as that thought, like in that same moment as the thought crossed my mind, it was like, nah, you feel me? Like, nah, we can't go out like that. You gotta have, at that point, I found a reserve of strength at my weakest point, if that makes sense. So personally, I've been to that point. Never attempted it or anything like that, but definitely, I could say personally, I definitely thought about it. I also had somebody that was real close to me attempt suicide. It was also, to me, it was like she tried to do it, but she didn't try to do it. You know, it was more so like a cry for help. You know, she swallowed some pills. You know what I mean? She was at a low point in her life, you know, and she felt like nobody understood her, so she made a cry for help. So, you know, that was that, and that really touched me in a certain way because, you know, I didn't know, I was so young when it happened, I didn't know how to respond to it. You feel me? And it felt, you know, I had plenty of emotions running through me at the time. It was like I was hurt, I was scared, you know, and I was angry at the same time. Like, why would you even try that? You feel me? But you never know what somebody's going through, you know, and how they're dealing with it. You know, people wear a mask every day. You know, sometimes you got to look past that. But you know, it was real deep because, you know, when somebody tell you in a way like they think that you wouldn't care if they died, you know, that hurts as well, because it's like, well, like, why would you say that? Because in a way it makes me feel like, well, you kind of saying that, like, I'm part of the reason why you did it, because you felt like I didn't care. You know what I mean? So I experienced it from that perspective as well. And that leads me to directly into what I want to go into next. Now, we're talking about, you know, suicide awareness, suicide prevention and stuff like that. But what are your actual personal feelings on suicide, on somebody committing suicide? Do you feel like it's a cowardice act? Or you know, like what are your personal feelings on it?
I mean, everybody has their issues that they go through. I mean, me personally, I that's a road I wouldn't take. I mean, yeah, you might be at your lowest and you might think things aren't going to get better, but it's always going to be it's always going to get better. I mean, you'll hit your lowest point. It can't get any worse than that. It's just going to get better from there. You might not realize it, you might not see it, but it little things, small steps will start to get you back to a better place. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from these people because they may have been at their lowest point and you know, they're not thinking rationally. They may have been hit with a couple of bad things at once. You know, you lost your job, and then once you lose your job, then you can't pay your bills. You lose your house, then you're homeless, and then you can't support your kids. You can't support your family. You don't have any food to eat. You lose your car because you can't pay your bill. You know, all these things that start happening, and then you get sick or something like that. And then, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from these people, but, you know, that would be a road that I wouldn't take. So I can't personally sit here and say, like, oh, you know, these people are bad because, you know, that's the choice that they decided to do was commit suicide. But that's just my opinion. I mean, some people, you know, certain religions will tell you, you know, you commit suicide, you know, no matter what happens, you don't make it to heaven. You're going to hell, you commit suicide. Other religions are saying, you know, you have these suicide bombers out here, you know, they're out here killing herself, and they think that they're getting into heaven because, you know, that was part of their religion was for them to commit suicide and take as many people with them as they could. So, you know, me personally, my thoughts on suicide is I couldn't do it. You know, like I said, I mean, you might be at your lowest point, but it's always going to get better. I mean, we've all been at low points before. I mean, there's been times where I'm sitting at home and I'm just like, yo, you know, I'm at a job, I'm not making enough money. How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to buy food? I got to pay my car note. I got to pay insurance. I got to get food for the house. Got to get food for the dog. I got to do this. I got to do that. There's not enough time. There's not enough money. What am I going to do? It'd be better off if I just wasn't here anymore. But then you got to think like, oh, you know, you talking like that. What's your family, your friends? Like, you just got to think about the good times. Like you have family who's out there to support you and love you. You got friends that are out here to support you. And they might not be out here giving you money or anything like that, but just somebody to talk to tell you, like, hey, you know, you'll make it through this. And that could take your mind off of, like, you know what, I got these people depending on me. Maybe I don't need to think like that. You know, it sounded like a good thought at first, but, hey, you know, it's really not a good thought because it's just not going to affect you. It's going to affect everybody, especially if you had kids or family or friends or work or whatever. So you know, it's kind of a selfish way to go out because you're only thinking about yourself at that time. But you know, say you might have some mental issues, and that was the only way that you thought you could handle the situation. So that's just what I think about it.
Well, my thought process was, I can remember as I want to say earlier in middle school, I just felt like my family didn't want me here. Like I was just the one that if I wasn't there, nobody would care. That's how I felt. But pretty much up until before I had my daughter, that's how I felt. I just felt like whatever I did was always wrong, and nothing I could ever do was right. So I felt like if I walked down the street and got hit by a bus, nobody would care. And then I thought about it. I never actually acted on doing so, but that was my thought process. But pretty much most of my preteens up until late teens, and that's how I felt. And it was funny because I laugh at it now because when I think about when I had my daughter at 18. Or was it 18? No, 19 I had her. And I remember I flatlined when I had her. And I remember when I woke up in the ICU, when I finally woke up, that I think it was that night or the next night or whatever, I thought to myself something and it made me laugh. It was like all this time I thought about taking myself out, and then God took me. And it's like now, and like that, and at the time that I didn't want to go. Because, like, you having a baby, you want to meet your baby, you know, you want to do all the stuff. And like, he gave me back my life, but it was just like, I think about that every time I thought about, like, when I think about suicide, I think about that. Like, all the time I thought about it, if I actually did it, and if like, what would happen? And I'm glad I never did that. But as far as my feelings towards it now I can say that it would have been a cowardly move. I don't think when people, and it's not necessarily that people do it, they're a coward, but I just feel like especially when you have kids or family that love you, unless your family just ain't crap, I'm pretty sure they give a crap about you and they don't want anything to happen to you. They're trying to help you. So it's hard. Like I look at it like Jabril said, when you have family, you have to think about your kids. Like if I kill myself, what's going to happen to my kids? Like that's not like you have to think that way. You can't just think about yourself. It's not even cowardly. It's selfish. That's what I will say. It's selfish because you don't think about the pain you're going to cause your loved ones when you do something like that. Like they have to live with the fact that nothing that they could do could help you, and that's the choice that you made for yourself and everyone else. Like it's not just a choice you make for yourself. It's a choice you make for your family, that the people that live on after you to deal with. Why couldn't they help you? Why didn't they see the signs? If they saw the signs, how come they couldn't do anything to help you? How come they couldn't make you happy? You know, things of that nature. And it's like that's a hard thing to deal with. And I would never want any of my children to do that because I would feel so hurt. So that would be my take on it.
Me, oh man, I guess I gotta. It depends on the situation. You feel me? Of if I want to call that person selfish or not, because like we discussed earlier, you know, it's different. You know, people can have a mental disorder, or you know, something could, you know, like brain trauma also can cause somebody to want to commit suicide. Because the movie Concussion, you know, you know, them guys was having, you know, the brain trauma and all that, and it drove them crazy, and they killed themselves. So I really can't say they are being selfish, you know, or somebody that has a psychotic break or something like that. You know, I can't sit here and say that they're being selfish. They're, you know, something happened to them mentally to where they don't have control really of their actions. So I don't think they're selfish. Now, like I go back to my situation, I said I hit rock bottom. You know, like I said, when I hit rock bottom, at the same time as that thought of taking myself out of here crossed my mind, like I said, at that same moment, I found that reserve. You know, like, nah, that ain't the way to go. I shouldn't even be thinking like that. You know, so I felt like if I would have did it, that would have been cowardly to get yourself out of here over, you know, things that come and go in life that you can get back. You know, the one thing you can't get back is time. You know, everything else, money, material things, you can get that all back. So if I'm sitting here, you know, I think that's real shallow. If I were to commit suicide, if people commit suicide over frivolous things to me like that, you know, and like you said, it's kind of selfish when you think about the family, you know, and if you have kids, you know, you're leaving them out here on their own.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You're not just hurting yourself. You know what I mean? You're hurting your family. And, you know, so it's like it depends on the situation. It really does. I can't generalize everything, but I really do believe, you know, if it ain't, if you're stressed over, you know, like what Jabril was talking about, paying your bills and this, that, and the third, you know, your self-worth or self-esteem, you know, like I don't think that's really a reason to commit suicide. You know, you may need to have somebody to talk to, go see a psychiatrist or something like that. I don't think it's a reason for you to commit suicide. So I'm a little, you know, I'm not as empathetic, I should say, or sympathetic to those who commit suicide for shallow reasons as that, you know, in my eyes. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I see it, you know. And I also want to discuss, because we was talking about, we're talking about, you know, behavior, suicidal behavior as well. One thing we need to really mention, you know, because, you know, suicide in the black community is really like, you know, taboo. People don't like to talk about it, you know, and it's acted out in different ways, especially in the ghetto. You know, a lot of these dudes out here that's running around here shooting and stuff like that, they have no self-worth. They really don't want to live themselves. So maybe they don't have the courage to kill themselves, you know, but they put themselves in a position to where they can be killed, and they don't care. You know, that's suicidal behavior as well. You know, and it's not talked about in the black community. You know, when white people go crazy and go nuts like that, the first thing they say is, well, he was crazy. He had a mental issue, stuff like that. You know, in the black community, oh, he's a thug. He's a gangster. You know what I mean? Do y'all notice the disparity between the two, or do y'all agree with that assessment? Jabril? Okay. Sarita?
Well, I just think that suicide as a whole in the black community is just like a hush thing. Like a lot of stuff in the black community, that's not our problem. That's some white folk problems. No, it's everybody's problem. Everybody suffers from depression. Black people suffer from mental health, just like white people or any other race suffer from mental health issues or just depression as a whole. So I think that mentality of thinking that we don't deal with those problems is a white man's problem. No, it's a people problem, and that's a problem. When you feel like, and in the black community, people are highly depressed, and if you can't go to a therapist, that's you can't go to a therapist. That's white people problems. But hold on, Clint, we have a caller. Hold on.
Okay.
Caller, you on air? GFT Radio. What's up?
Yeah, it's J-Ro.
Oh,
really?
What's going on, boy?
Nah, my phone died off, so I had to get back on real quick.
Oh, okay. Should have had
What I missed like this last minute? My phone cut off.
I was talking. I brought up the fact, about whether you know how when white people go crazy, commit suicide, or do things like violent acts, they're considered to have mental illnesses and stuff like that. But when blacks do it, they're considered thugs and gangsters. But you know, nobody never really talks about the depression and stuff that goes on in the black community, and why a lot of this behavior that goes on is actually, you know, it's not really homicidal acts, it's suicidal acts. You know what I mean? Do you agree with that assessment?
I definitely agree with
What
that.
do you
That's why I say, I mean, one of the points I had brought up earlier was, a lot of things happen, it could be in the community, and you brought up the point about, especially in the white community, black community, you see it a lot in the black community. But my thing is, a lot of these things aren't addressed personally and within the community itself. A lot of people, we even brought this up when it came up to the talk about the getting yourself checked when we talked about, people's health a couple of shows back, a couple of months back. A lot of the people in our community, will overlook these things. They'll just pass it off as, it's nothing serious, we don't have to worry about it. That doesn't happen to us. That's only them over there or whatever. It's not really looked at seriously, but I don't have numbers in front of me, but I'm pretty sure, you take a look at statistics and you look at these numbers, it's some facts to what you're saying right there. And,
but
that's
Jabril,
why
I
I
also
keep
was
saying,
saying, too, do you, I'm sorry, but I was going to say, Jabril, do you agree with when I was saying how in the black community, like, how they deal with problems, whether it's mental problems, depression, talking to psychiatrists, it's like, we don't have those problems. White people have them problems. And that's why a lot of black people don't go see a therapist, why they don't get, if they're depressed, they won't go do things like that to get themselves help because it's not a black, quote-unquote, black person's problem. I
definitely agree with that. I hate to keep going back to the health thing, but, it happens a lot with health. The people, the things that are prominent in the black community, you got diabetes, you got high cholesterol, you got all kind of other health issues. And people want to say, that doesn't run in my family. That's not something that we have to worry about because we're black. We don't have to worry about that. I don't have to go see a doctor. But I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter who you are. These issues can hit everybody the same. I mean, it's just something that's not talked about, so, it doesn't come up as much in the black community. That's why they're saying, we don't have to worry about these things. Oh, the white man went crazy, and then he shot up everything, and then he killed himself. Oh, that's typical. That's normal because he's a white dude, and that's what white people do. No, that's not. I mean, it can happen to anybody, whether you're black, white, Indian, Spanish, whatever you are. It happens to everybody. It hits every community. It's just that some people are more out there and more in tune with, this is a mental health issue and we need to get it looked at, whereas, some people in our community just look at it like, he smoked some bad weed or something crazy like that, so that's just how he is, or this doesn't happen in our community, this is just he just went wild and went crazy. Like, no, these are issues that happen in everybody's community. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, so it can happen anywhere to anybody.
But I definitely want to give out that number. Again, if you know someone who is showing these types of warning signs of committing suicide, or you have thoughts of committing suicide, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It is 1-800-273-TALK. Again, it's 1-800-273-8255. Go ahead, Clint, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I was just about to ask you to put that number out there again. I was just about to ask you to put that number out there.
Why.
Yes, because that's it. It's, we're here to give out information, and hopefully we help somebody, who's listening tonight. Hope we help them, gave them some, courage to reach out for help.
Yes.
Let them know that they are not alone. This is a big issue, so hopefully, they'll take the right course, seek some help, or somebody who's listening may have gave them some information and they noticed the sign in one of their friends and they can help. You see, So we're encouraging people to be proactive as well.
Yeah.
So if you see any risky behavior or depression with your friend, or change your behavior, talk to them, sit them down, let them know that they're not alone. Let them know that they can get help, and you'll stick by their side. And I would like Jabril to give out one last time the name of that program. Was it ACE?
ACE means Ask, Care, escort. It's an Army program out there that's dedicated to prevent suicide prevention and suicide awareness. It's called the ACE program. Ask your buddy, care for your buddy, escort your buddy. Never leave them alone. Ask them if there's anything, if they're actually thinking about killing themselves. Care for your buddy, and escort them. Like I say, escort is the main thing. Ask and escort. I mean, they're all important, but, ask if they're ever thinking about killing themselves. If they tell you yes, take it seriously. Don't take it lightly. Don't take it as a joke. Don't just brush it off as them being stressed because of military duties or, being away from their family or whatever. Take it seriously and escort them. Never leave that person alone, because if they said yes that they're thinking about killing themselves, 9 times out of 10 they already have it in their mind like, hey, this is the only way to get it done. This is the only way out. So, remove whatever they're thinking about, whether it's the weapon, whether it's pills, shoot, they do it in jail. You go to solitary, they take your belt, they take your shoelaces, they take anything and everything away from you. No pens, no pencil, no nothing. The same thing happens in the regular world, in the Army, in jail. Take all those things away from them. So, ACE, act, care, escort. That's all I got to say about that.
Clint, before you go on, I wanted to let you guys know that for the last 2 years, I have walked with one of my friends in the month of October in Veterans Park out in Hamilton, New Jersey, for a suicide awareness walk. It is called Out of the Darkness. It's basically bringing them out of that darkness where they're in and bringing them into the light. It's a very moving walk because you get to walk with groups of people who are walking for a person or a loved one that they have lost to a suicide. And you get to hear the stories of some of them, and they share their stories, and it's amazing. And then you see the people that survive suicide attempts there as well, and they share their stories, that how someone helped them and saved them, or you hear the loved ones talk about their loved one that committed suicide and how hard they took it and how they had to not go along with the cycle, and because dealing with somebody that passed is hard. And sometimes you can have suicidal thoughts after that. But it's a very moving walk, and it's in Veterans Park. It is normally held in October. What I will do on the blog is once I find the exact date for the month of October, I will be posting that. So that way you can either go to the website and donate, or you can attend the walk. If you're in our area, you can participate in that walk and walk with someone that has committed suicide.
Oh, okay. I'll be looking forward to that
information.
Well, people, couple minutes. We're going to be going into our after show. We're going to freestyle a little bit, talk about some current events. Once again, the phone number to the show is 657-383-1155. You can call in and join in this add on to the discussion about suicide and suicide awareness, or you can just join in as a freestyle, an open forum, and talk about whatever. You feel me? Do y'all have any little topics going into the after show y'all might want us to talk about?
I have been avoiding news lately because there's been some shenanigans with this race. I need people to vote. That's all I'm going to keep talking about is voting. Get registered and vote, because this is crazy.
Yeah,
that's the only thing. I mean, we talk about that every week. Every week we tell people to vote, and we can't keep stressing it enough. Everybody's out here like, it's not going to happen. So-and-so is not going to be elected president. Y'all going to be surprised. Y'all definitely going to be surprised when it comes around. This dude is gaining some numbers. Everybody is out here gaining numbers, but the one that nobody wants to be in there, y'all going to be surprised when he pops up in office, when he getting sworn in his inauguration in January. Y'all going to be surprised. That's why I say we stress it every week, get out here, register, get out here, vote. Don't pull that, I'm not going to vote because it's not going to matter. Like, no, get out here, make it happen, get it done.
Yes.
Facts.
Yeah, and this is so much stuff in the news that you could talk about. This is crazy. I just have decided to kind of like I have it on in the morning and I try to be busy because it's been craziness. That's all.
Yeah.
If it's one stupid thing after another.
It was something. It was something. We might as well get into it now. It was something on the radio. I was listening to it earlier. The guy, I guess he wrote a letter to the radio station, and he was saying how he's working 2 jobs. He barely makes over $30,000 a year. His girl makes more money than him. They just had a baby. He's actually he lives with her, but he pays the bills. But he feels like less of a man because he felt like he was only 24 years old, but he felt like he wasn't doing enough.
Yeah.
He felt kind of emasculated. Jabril, I want to ask you as a man first. Do you personally? I feel like he shouldn't be ashamed of nothing. He's working hard. You know what I mean? Eventually, his pay rate can go up and gain more, so he shouldn't feel that way. Do you feel like, I guess he felt like he wasn't the breadwinner. So do you feel like he should feel less of himself because he's not the breadwinner in his house, or the opposite?
I feel it should be the opposite. I mean, it's a new day and age right now. I mean, I could say it's 2016, but this has been going on way before then. It doesn't matter who's bringing what to the table. To me, it doesn't matter who's bringing what to the table. If my wife is making more money than me, so be it. She's making more money than me. She might have a different job. She might be in a more stressful situation. Her qualifications, her education, her everything might be better than what I am. But, as long as we're both out there, we're working hard, we're out there busting our ass, and we're getting a paycheck, it doesn't matter who's bringing in more money. I can tell you the truth. I know we make ends meet, we pay our bills, we get everything done. I don't know how much my wife makes. She might make more than me. Who knows? But that's not something that, it's something that you probably should know, but I'm not going to be sitting up here clocking her paycheck like, what do you make a year? That's not something that you go out on a date and you going to ask somebody like, what you make a year? You making 30? All right, I'm making 25. That's not going to make me not want to date you or not want to be with you just because you're making more money than me. It's not going to make me feel like less of a man. Whether I'm working 1 job or I'm working 2 jobs, if I'm out there and we both making money and we both making ends meet, it really shouldn't matter who's making more. I did catch that was on the morning show radio. I think it was 2 days ago or yesterday. I think it was. I heard that on the radio, but like I say, it really shouldn't matter that he shouldn't feel bad for himself because he's out here working hard. Working 2 jobs, making over $30,000 a year. Hey, you're making ends meet. You're making it happen. So you should feel no shame in what you're doing. That's crazy to me. Like it all comes down to who's making more money in a relationship, the men or the women. It reminds me of that episode of Martin that came on. When he found out Jean was making more money than him, and she tried to have to play it off and let him know, like, oh no, you think about it in the long run, you do all of this, and the hours you working at the radio station and all this, you making more than me, and made him try to feel all better about himself. Like I said, it's a new day and age. Like if my wife came to me and told me she was making more than me, I'm not gonna sit here and go crazy and start stressing out and break down and all this other stuff. But everybody's different. Some dudes out here are saying that they should be making more than they lady is, but like I said, y'all making ends meet, y'all paying y'all bills, and there's nothing to worry about, and you shouldn't worry about it.
I definitely agree. Now, Sarita, from a woman's perspective, does it matter to you?
As long as you work and do what you're supposed to do.
We need an honest answer.
No, I'm serious. Like for me personally, I would love for the person I'm with making more money than me. But at the same time, if you're not, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do as a man, I'm okay. That's like making sure the bills are paid, helping the bills be paid, whether you make more or less than me, maintaining our household as a whole. I'm not, like, as long as our bills are getting paid, I'm pretty much good. And everything's been taken care of. We ain't, like, wallowing in debt. I'm not taking care of you. That's different. If I'm taking care of you, we have a problem because I ain't taking care of nobody but a kid. So
let me ask you this.
But go ahead.
If your man is out here pushing carts at Home Depot for $15 an hour, but y'all making ends meet, hey, Home Depot cart pushers getting like $15, $19 an hour to push them carts at Home Depot, but y'all making ends meet. You be fine? Because there's some people like, oh, I ain't messing with that dude.
I would be fine, but I'm hoping that he wouldn't be complacent in that.
True.
And I would be fine, but I want him to be trying to do something career-wise, because Home Depot, like that's a job. I'm not gonna knock you for that. That's a job. You have a job. You're not out on the street selling drugs, but I will hope that you will want better for yourself. I'm not gonna press you to be like, oh, you got to have a better job. No, keep a job, because I'd rather you quit a job trying to get a better job and then you don't have no job. I would rather you strive for more.
But what if he real good with money? Know how to invest, know how to make that money, make more money.
That's good, because I'm not good with saving at all. So if you can save and you can teach me how to save and we can do this, then that's great, because I know how to pay bills. I can't save worth a lick, but I can pay some bills. So if you want to help us save and not pay the bills, we're good. Like we can make that work, because I can't save. I be trying to save money, and somehow, because I know I got money here, I got to somehow dip into it. So if you can help me save and we can better ourselves, that's great. But you can't be like just not doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like you can't be in school for 7 years, sweetheart. No, you better be in school and a job. We do both.
I'm like, I'm at the point where, like you, if you got a job and you can support yourself, we cool. I'm not with somebody. I don't like to be with somebody. You know what I mean? You can make, like, say you make $80,000 a year. That's great, but you spending about $100,000. You know what I mean? Your bills, you still be like, I can't dig that. You know what I mean? One thing, that's one. Like I've been in that situation. Now with somebody, and they're not good with money. You know what I mean? It don't even matter how much they make. They just not good with money. They like to spend too much. They like to overextend themselves. So with me, I'm at a point to where, okay, as long as you're able to support yourself and you know how to budget your money and make it work to where you're not always living check to check, then, I can deal with that. You feel me? Anything else y'all want to talk about? Any other topics y'all want to talk about? Oh, my goodness. I knew you was going to bring that. Oh, my goodness. I knew you was going to bring that nonsense up. I knew you was going to bring it. I'm a die. So if everybody don't know, I'm a diehard. I guess I was born to be a Tar Heel fan. That's where my family's from, North Carolina. But, that broke my heart Monday. I can't even tell y'all. I can't even explain it. When that thing went through that net, I was so upset. I almost was sick to my stomach.
I didn't even watch the game, but I just, like, the funny part about it was before the March Madness started, and it was the teams were all lined up who was going to go, I'm like, the first name I thought of was Villanova. And then I said to myself, what if they win the whole thing? And then I haven't watched any of the games, mind you. And then guess who wins? Villanova. I said, ain't that some mess?
Who you was rooting for, bro?
I'm gonna be honest. I really don't follow college basketball like that. But when it comes down to like area teams, I vote for any Philly college that's playing, whether it's Temple, Villanova. You got St. Joe's. Any one of those Philly teams that are out there playing are usually the ones that I go for. My wife is a big diehard Duke fan. She went to North Carolina A&T, but she's a big diehard Duke fan. But when it comes to college sports, I'm all about Philly and Jersey. So when I heard Villanova was going, I was kind of hyped about it, and I heard they won. I was even more excited.
Say wife Duke's up first.
Always a hater. He's one of the ones that was Jordan that was crying. You get mad off some Jordan memes?
The Jordan memes? I know the Jordan memes is what made me feel alright, because they were hilarious. They was the one where they had Jordan himself standing in the stands, but they had all the fans around him with the Jordan Mean crying face. I was like, oh man. They posted that thing like 3 minutes after that boy hit that shot. It was like they was waiting. Like, they was waiting.
They was waiting. They be having them like that's any basketball game. They got them memes waiting. No, either way, the memes are waiting.
Yeah, I gotta learn how to make those. Those things are hilarious. I tell you, that thing had me crying. I was like, oh man, the internet is ruthless. They don't care about your feelings at all.
Not at all.
Then the other one, then the other one, they had the team on the bench, and they had all the players with the Jordan Mean crying face. I'm like, dang. Like, I mean, it was immediate. I'm like, yo, that's no
seen the meme? No, you seen the meme? Remember the video with the cat attacking the other cat while from out that cabinet?
Yeah.
They had Jordan looking sad, and then they had the other cat smack the hell out of him, and then go back in the cabinet. I was tired. So them memes will have you in tears, and you be just trying to be good, and they just be like out there like this, just laugh.
Yeah, man. I love the internet.
The internet is just petty as hell. It should be called the petty net.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrible.
Now, Jabril, would you watch anything on ESPN today?
Nah,
you
I didn't catch anything.
Jones is?
Who?
You know who Bomani Jones is from ESPN?
Nah.
He's like a black anchor bald head guy. Well, anyway.
Nah, what happened with him?
Well, he did a show. You know how the Native Americans, they're protesting Cleveland Indians because they want that logo, they want the name change and all that.
Yeah.
Well, today he was on the Mike and Mike show this morning, and he had a shirt on that had the Cleveland Indians logo, but instead of saying Indians, it said Caucasians. So yeah.
Wow.
So he was So, but he was on the show, and he was on the show with a white guy. It was a white guy show. So he was trying to make a point and trying to prove now y'all see how they feel. Because he caught some backlash today on Twitter, on ESPN, everything. He got some backlash for that today. But he was like, that just goes to prove my point. You know what I mean? If y'all don't like it, and the shirt just said Caucasians, which y'all are, how you think they feel when y'all got a picture depicting them as Indians and they don't consider themselves, they don't call themselves Indians? Like, his name Bomani Jones. Y'all ain't, Google it.
Wow.
He caught a lot of backlash. Got the shirt, he's just sitting on the couch, the shirt wide open, say Caucasians. They tried to rip him. They tried to say he was, race baiting and all that type stuff. But he took it smoothly. You know what I mean? He rolled with the punches. He always speak out on stuff like that.
Wow. What's his name again?
Bomani Jones. Bomani.
Yeah, I just looked at that shirt. It said Caucasians. It's basically the Indian shirt, and it said Caucasians on it instead with a white name. It says the Indian.
Y'all got me on Google right now. I'm on Bing. This first of all, my browser is set up. It's gonna take me to Bing. Y'all know I'll be Googling.
And then if you want to go to his Twitter is L Flacco. He calls himself L Flacco. L_Flacco.
Okay.
Yeah, that shirt. That shirt caused a lot of people to be angry.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying they freaked out over his shirt. Wow.
Yep.
But I'm saying I see what he's doing. I understand where he's coming from.
But sometimes
it's been happening
for
years.
You gotta make a statement without really saying nothing.
Mm-hmm. What you were saying, Jabril?
Nah, I say it's been happening for years. You got the Washington Redskins, you got the Cleveland Indians. These debates have been going on for years. We're trying to get these names taken out of sports, and It's just been a back and forth, and they sit here and talk about, oh, it's not offensive. It's just what the name of the organization is. But then you got this guy who wears a Caucasian shirt for a couple of hours on the radio show. And mind you, I mean, Mike and Mike does broadcast on TV, but it's a radio show, and he wears a shirt to the radio show, and it causes all. You got people talking about it now. Now you see how offended they are and how offensive it is for him to wear that shirt, but everybody's cool with the Washington Redskins and the Cleveland Indians, and like I said, that's been going on for years since these organizations have probably been around.
Yeah, it was also with the Atlanta Braves. When they were doing
the Atlanta Braves. I'm pretty sure it's Florida State Seminoles. I mean, every organization, every sport has one that somebody is offended by the name of the team, and it, like I say, since these organizations have probably been around, and nobody has an issue with it, but this one guy wears a shirt that says Caucasians, and now the whole world's talking about it. At a radio, like I say, I'm going to keep saying it was at a radio show. Yes, it's broadcast. It's also broadcast on TV, but this is a radio show. Like you don't know where any of us are sitting up here wearing the radio show. Because for all you know, we'd be sitting here in boxers and a T-shirt doing a radio show. It's a radio show. But this dude wore the shirt on. What's up?
No, I'm looking at American Idol. The girl, I can't think of her name right now. She won.
Oh, American Idol finals.
Don't mind me.
They were down to the last two singers.
I'm over here with Idol.
Yeah, it was down to the last two. Wasn't the girl from New Jersey on there, or was that one of them other shows?
It was the girl. I'm trying to see the damn tweet, and it won't let me see it.
Yeah, it was a girl from Jersey. I don't know if she was on The Voice or if she was on American Idol.
No, Idol was the last show was tonight.
Yeah.
I
mean,
I had a question. It was about the election now. Have y'all been seeing that? Well, being that I did peep this morning before I tried to tune out about Bernie Sanders and Hillary going at it.
I read something earlier about he said something about her, but I really ain't get too deep with it. What happened?
Well, basically, she basically said that he wouldn't be fit for the job, and they've been going back and forth about she ain't fit, but the way she did it, she said it without she said it. She basically said it, and then she tried to clean it up and make it sound like it was no, I just answered the question. No, you threw shade, but it was okay because he threw shade back. They basically doing what Donald do. They're going back and forth. They're doing the same thing he's doing.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere where he said she wasn't qualified. Something like that.
That's what she said. She originally said he wasn't qualified.
Oh wow. You know what I mean? See, here's my thing about these politicians that it's like Chris Christie did it too, and Trump. They bash each other in these debates and these interviews and stuff, but once they see they can't win, then they want to throw their support behind them. Now, you got Bernie. Now, if she's saying he unfit, or he's saying she's not qualified, well, if Bernie wins, I don't want to hear her talk about how much she support Bernie and Bernie would be perfect for the job. And if he wins, I don't want to hear him talking about, well, she's perfect for the job and she qualified and we should vote for her. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what I mean? That's the part of the politics I don't like. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's the part I don't like. If you give me a reason not to vote for her or him in the beginning, stick to that reason when you no longer have a chance to win, instead of, you know what I mean, trying to position yourself for a position later. You know what I mean? Sort of like what Hillary did to Barack. Hillary was bashing Barack.
And he gave her a job.
Yep, and he gave her a job. You know what I mean? So,
But that just made me think about what I was going to say it was either last week or the week before when I was reading this article, and it basically said that Donald Trump is like the Ross Perot of this current time, and that he doesn't want to be president. He's been making all this noise to make Hillary president because she's just like him, but not really as loud and obnoxious as he is.
Yeah, I don't trust.
And it made me think about it, like, wow, well, it's like, because Ross Perot, he was back in the day, in like, what's that, early '80s, early '90s, he was acting all crazy. It was like everybody, nobody really believed that, took him seriously. And the same thing with Donald Trump, like, only because they were billionaires, they were able to do what they did. But it's just, it makes you think, like, is that really what he's trying to do?
I mean, you never know. You really never know. To be honest with you, like, this politics game is tricky. You feel me? They got all types of
they say what sounds good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like I said, at the end of the day, we just pick it. We just trying to figure out the lesser of the evils.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
that's exactly what it is.
Sad thing.
You know what I mean? Like, because the system, you know what I mean? Like, we need a whole new system, in my opinion. I think we talked about on a, it was one of these shows we did when we was talking about, I asked about the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I really think it's time to change the Constitution. You know what I mean? We living in a whole different age and different time, and to still be going by the, you know what I mean, living by them same constitutional laws that was written hundreds of years ago, like, nah, I ain't with it.
Yeah.
I ain't with it. Everything needs to change. You know what I mean? And if it don't, we are just going to continue to get in the same thing. You know what I mean? That's just how I see it.
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy. It's like this world, you never know. And if we get God forbid we get Trump into office, and he is the person that our commander in chief, I really don't know what's going to happen with the United States as a whole. It's going to be real different. And then they're going to think back to, well, Barack Obama wasn't so bad.
It's like that every year.
And it's like, yeah.
It's like that every year. They always say that the person afterwards.
Except for George Bush, the last one. He kind of walked in and fucked shit up and then walked back out like, all right. He did a lot of crazy shit.
Well, we'd like to thank y'all for listening tonight. You know, we did a great show. Talked about suicide prevention. Sarita, you want to get that suicide number out again?
Yes, I do. Hold on 1 second. I have it right here. And that number is, where did I put it? 1-800-273-TALK, and it's 1-800-273-8255. If you know someone that shows the warning signs of committing suicide, or you're thinking yourself about committing suicide, please call this hotline. They have specialists that are willing to help you and get you the help that you need, because there is treatment that you can have that will help you during that dark time in your life or someone you love's life.
All right, there we go. So, like I said, great show tonight, guys.
Yes.
I'd like to thank all y'all out there that was listening. J-Ro, you want to get them your handle where they can reach you at? Feel me? If they need any more information or just want to let you up.
J-Ro609 anywhere, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, social. I'm social. You know, Google it, JRO609. You'll find me out there.
All right. Sonny?
I am Sonny_D on Twitter and on Instagram. You can find me on my blog site, unreservedlyme.wordpress.com. Clint?
Y'all can hit me up on my blog site at kingstruth.com. Hit me up on Twitter at eTrentonGroomy, Snapchat at King's Truth. Also, y'all can log on to our website, gftradioshow.com. Our YouTube site, where y'all can catch all the shows y'all missed on there. It's called GFT Radio. Go on there to YouTube, subscribe to that link. You know what I mean? So any show y'all missed, y'all can catch it on there. Outside of that, go ahead, babe.
The blog Twitter. We just made a blog Twitter account. It is GFT_radio. It's GFT_radio on Twitter. Definitely follow that. That's where you'll see all the updates of the show and everything like that.
Yeah, we everywhere. Y'all can catch us everywhere.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for listening. And I think we're going to tune out. Catch y'all next week, same time, same place. 10 p.m. Thursdays, GFT Radio Show. Holla
Bye,
at us.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.